We good, Sam?
Yeah, man.
All
Oh my
right.
gosh. Let's do it.
Let's do
It
it.
took so long.
I know. But hey, we're here now. We're here now.
Ty, how are you?
Man, I have no complaints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has the last year been tough on you?
So many, it feels like 3 years wrapped
know.
in one,
No.
but not too tough. Like, I'm still here. So,
Well, you guys did one of the first, Temp Job did one of the first shows back. The thing that Rusty
Monster
did.
Mash.
Yeah, the Monster
Second
Mash.
Bell Fest. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys were right there on the card. It was Cruz Contreras and it was Temp Job, baby.
Mm-hmm.
How was that?
Fun. We didn't know what to expect again, too. Like you said, like that was one of the first live events. Odd because like me and Mia, that's the other front woman in Temp Job, we're so used to like jumping in the crowd. And like there's no way, like we'd be jumping into the grass. So that was like, we had to like kind of change our set, but we were just happy to be out there. It was cool because it was Halloween, so people were dressed up.
Yeah.
So that was fun. There was like some kids getting down the whole time, a couple
Really?
Spider-Mans, rocking out. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Also, everyone else on the lineup was amazing too.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a solid card.
It was.
What was what was life like before that? Wondering if it was going to come back, or did you wonder if you were ever going to play shows again?
So before COVID, I was working for a booking company, Crossover Touring. Shout out to Virginia, Chris, Curtis, Adrian, and the whole.
Are they in Nashville?
They are now. Crossover Touring is now, but Virginia is who that was my boss, and she
Yeah.
has, I believe, reopened her old agency, Prater Day. So they're trying to keep their artists working and touring. So she's still doing stuff in Knoxville.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was weird. Like our whole office was let go. I had been there for like 2 years. Everyone else had been there for over or working together for over like 6 years. So
You were working in the music industry before COVID hit, and then it was
Precisely.
like
what am I
everything-
doing? What's
Yeah.
going on?
one of the hardest hit industries by COVID.
Absolutely.
For sure. Hospitality and live music.
Absolutely.
And you were working at a booking agency? Okay.
I was an
What'd you
agent
guys do?
assistant. So we booked tours. We were like not boutique, a little bit bigger than boutique or maybe boutique. There was about just a little bit under 100 artists, ranging from like bluegrass to New Orleans brass bands. We had a couple of soul artists on there.
Yeah.
Lots of like indie artists. But it was like I learned so much. I learned every day. I was doing agent assisting. I started out interning for the company. Then I did tour promotions, which I really enjoyed.
Who were some of the bands you worked with?
In bluegrass, Americana, jam band world, we had the Del McCurry band, the McCurry brothers,
The Traveling
the
McCoys?
Traveling McCurrys.
Yeah.
We had Billy Strings, which is amazing. He was blowing up when I was working there. He's still blowing up. I'm glad to see he's still
He's on this
with
kind of-
Crossover.
he's this trajectory
Absolutely,
right here. That boy is
absolutely.
blowing up, man.
Absolutely. Rebirth Brass Band.
Yeah.
Who else?
Were you
Victor Wooten,
I love
which is
Victor Wooten.
amazing.
Yeah.
So me and Chris, which is my coworker, we both play bass, and so we got to go to Victor. We didn't get to go for the whole week, but we got to go to Victor Wooten's bass camp.
Really?
For like a couple of days.
So
and
I
see
heard
it out.
that Victor Wooten does this thing with his hand on the bass. He does this, and he just it's up and down. He can hit it both ways.
You want to know? I didn't actually hear him play. Like he was just facilitating the entire time. But his brothers were leading
Yeah.
a lot of the
Future Man?
Future Man. And which one was that? The one that wore the pirate hat?
Maybe. I
It
don't
might have
know.
been Future Man. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like one of them was Ray.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, guys. But they were all cool. It was like a really cool learning experience. And like he's big on not only music but also like nature and spirituality. So like most of the camp is of course like music, but it's called Music and Nature. So I enjoyed it for that aspect alone. Like he was big on nature and connecting with nature.
Yeah. That dude is. You look at the industry and you look at New Age jazz, Bela Fleck world. Victor Wooten is a god. He's a god.
Absolutely, especially in bass.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Is that how you started out in the music business, was playing bass?
So no, I actually started out at 90.3 The Rock.
No way.
Yeah. So I was a communications major, and there was a class where you had to either work or intern with the Daily Beacon, 90.3 The Rock, or the Volunteer Channel. And I just chose The Rock. And Benny's amazing. And it
Benny
was like,
Smith.
yes, Benny Smith. Shout out to Benny. Shout out to the whole crew. Like my first week there, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm here. So like after I was a student DJ, there was a position opened up to co-host Soul Power. And then that was led by Ellen, who soon moved to California. So then there was like a position open to just co-host or host Soul Power on Sundays from 6 to 8. And
Is that a soul show?
Yeah. It's been like 4 years. I've been there since like 2017.
You still doing shows there?
Still doing it.
When is it? Sundays?
Sundays, 6 to 8. Tune in. You won't be disappointed.
That's awesome.
Yeah. 2 hours of funk and feel good. And of course soul. New school, old school.
What kind of stuff do you guys play?
Right now I've been spinning a lot of Leon Bridges. Of course, always James Brown, Father of Funk. Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm partial to Earth, Wind, and Fire. Stevie Wonder, new artists like Cleo Soul, of course the late and great Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings.
Yeah.
Charles Bradley, a little bit of everything. Yeah.
I watched some Temp Job stuff tonight.
Okay.
That stuff is funky. It's funky.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost. I put it. Do you know Galactic?
Yes.
Do you know that group?
Yes.
It's like Galactic meets Blondie. You know, like
I always love hearing what people like relate to it as, because
Yeah.
like I mean we don't. It's just a big old stew of a lot of stuff.
Really?
A lot of different stuff. Yeah.
When'd you start that group? Temp Job.
So backstory: me and the other front woman, her name is Mia. We were in a 3-piece band when I first started learning bass, which is like in 2017. And have you heard of ESG from New York?
I don't know.
They're like old school 80s, 90s punk band. Black women, all black women. So we were just very basic, bare bones. I played bass. We had our friend Devin on drums, and Mia was doing what she did on the microphone. And we played a show at the Birdhouse with, what was the band's name? I'm so sorry, guys. I forgot what the band's name is. They're no longer a band anymore. But I think we opened for them. And Chris Rusk was there, and he came up to us after the show and was like, "Whoa, you guys were crazy. You guys were like ESG. Do you want to be in a band?" And I looked at Mia and I was like, "I don't know what this little short white man is. I don't know. Should we trust him? And then finally I was like, you know what? Why not? Let's just go. Let's see what it's like. And after like our first jam session, it was me, Mia, Chris on bass, Colin on drums, and then Dexter on guitar. It was just like a 5-piece. It was amazing. And it was just like having a space, especially where like me and Mia came from the hip hop kind of world. Just having a space with like live instruments and people being like, hey, do what the fuck you want to, play what the fuck you want to, say what you want to. It was liberating in a sense, but also just cool to have people around that were also amazing musicians in general. So after our first meeting, Chris had a couple of friends, one being Sam Stratton, and Sharice, Miss Pumpkin Star, who were like, we want to be in the cool band too. So they joined in on saxophone, and then we had Brandon Biondo come in on keyboards. So then we became an 8-piece, very short span. So I don't think any of us had a genre in mind,
right? Or
any like nothing's too serious about us. Like you can definitely tell. Like we just like to play music. We like to punk around, to funk around. And I think we're all influenced by different types of music, but I think definitely like rhythm heavy, rhythm intensive, like funk, which I mean, is also a facet of rock and roll, and also punk music. Mm-hmm.
So it just it was a really fast snowball. You just started picking up members as it went on.
Precisely, and our first show was at the Pilot Light in 2018.
That venue, that room, I don't know what it is about that room.
It's so special.
It is
so
special. How'd your first show go?
It was amazing.
Really?
We were just sweaty. Like we were like at capacity. Everybody's sweating. And then
And the
after
stage is
first
small
show,
too. So you guys did you have 8 people at that point?
8 people.
On that little
On the
stage?
stage.
Yeah.
Well, we
It's
made it work.
It's like 8 people on a piece of plywood.
Literally. But the sound is so good.
Yes.
It's like one of my favorite venues. I think, of course, because, our friends and our family, come and frequent it.
Yeah.
Are used to. That's why, we're coming out of a whole pandemic. But no, Pilight's great. Shout out to Jason.
So all this has happened since the pandemic started? The band starting, you moving here, all that? Are you working here?
I'm working here. So, again, like I said, before the pandemic, I was doing booking, and then there was no live music. I was unemployed for a very long time, but I started volunteering with a couple of community organizations.
Which ones?
So, my background's in public relations and communications. So, those are things that I'm just privy to doing. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to just reach out and see if anyone just needs help because I'm kind of doing nothing else. And so the first organization I worked with was Black Mama's Bailout, which is an action just to combat pretrial detention and the cash bail system.
What's that?
And this is kind of new to me, but also, it also played a part in my upbringing. But a lot of people, when they are convicted and in jail, especially Black women or women in general, their bail is set to amounts that they're not able to pay. But if they were able to pay, they'd be free. So basically, they're only staying, locked in cages or locked in prison or jail because they don't have enough money to get out. So what Black Mama's Bailout does is just raise funds to bail out the mothers who should be free, but are only waiting to be freed until they have the money to get them out, which is this just ongoing system.
System's fucked up, man.
It is. But I mean,
was it a nonprofit?
It's not. It's like a community action. So a community-based, community-led initiative, very grassroots.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
It is. So after volunteering with them, we had a collaboration on an event and a fundraiser with The Bottom, which is a new community space started in 2020 of last year. The founder's name is Nkechi Elamine, who's now my boss. So we did a first Friday fish fry to raise funds for the bailout.
That's a lot of alliteration right there.
It is. Maggie Lee's First Friday Fish Fry. Y'all don't miss it. Every first Friday at The Bottom. And it's put on by Get Your Po' Boys, which are a couple from Louisiana who do Louisiana-style po' boys and fish sandwiches. So we did one of those, and I had one conversation with Nkechi about what she's trying to do and what she's trying to bring to Knoxville and what she's trying to build and rebuild and reclaim for the Black community, which is community. It's Black space, ownership of land, ownership of space, kind of reclaiming what's been lost and what's been kind of destroyed and turned down since urban renewal and urban removal, which is government-sanctioned destruction of urban or just Black communities. And that, a lot of, not just Knoxville, a lot of places in the U.S., started doing that in the 50s and 60s. And it was, really devastating to a lot of Black communities. It's literally removing, a whole community, a whole culture, churches, buildings, clubs, stores, homes, in order to...
what? Factories?
So it was just a runoff street. So... and sometimes, yes, buildings and infrastructures are just beautifications.
Yeah.
So a lot of things, gentrification,
push everybody out a little
and
bit.
they were pushed east. And so The Bottom was named after the neighborhood that was there before urban renewal.
Which is called The Bottom?
It was called The Bottom.
The neighborhood was?
The neighborhood. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Because it used to flood, the first creek used to flood down there. So it's The Bottom. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And a lot of, Detroit has a bottom. A lot of different... cities and places have a bottom, which is the Black neighborhood, which was deemed as probably not in the most pleasant light, but like many things, I think Black folks and Black communities are very, very resilient, and we take a lot of the shit that was meant to harm us and we flip it and turn it into stuff, which is why I'm happy to be working with The Bottom now. It's beautiful. I'm happy to be there.
Are you from Nashville?
Close. I'm from Shelbyville, which is a very small town about an hour south of
on
Nashville.
65?
Yeah, I'm near Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Okay.
Most people know where that is.
What county is it?
Bedford.
Bedford County.
Bedford County.
Okay.
One county over from Manchester and Bonnaroo.
Gotcha.
So like I'm like a 20-minute drive from
Gotcha.
there. Yeah, Shelbyville's I consider us rural. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the biggest store we have is Walmart. If you need anything else, you go to the next town or you go to Nashville. But I spent a lot of time in Nashville. I went to church in Nashville.
Yeah.
Had a family in Nashville.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What was it like? What was it like there? What was the makeup like? Were you the only black girl there? Was there?
So definitely not a huge black population,
Yeah, I was
not at
wondering.
all. But I will say, like, you know, when I went to school, when I went to the store, I was absolutely used to navigating white dominated spaces. Like that's just
Yeah.
what I grew up in. But when I came to like home life, family life, or church life, I was definitely immersed in black culture, you know, in those safe spaces, and that's what. You know, I think the church has become, or like, you know, families become, and are so important to a lot of communities because it is safe. You know, it is safety. It is a net that you fall on when the outside world isn't as welcoming to you. Or a lot of times, you know, you have your family there to like fall back on. So when I came to Knoxville, I came in 2013 to go to UT. On campus, that was like kind of the largest amount of black folks my age that I had been around. And I was like,
growing up in Middle Tennessee in a rural area.
yeah. Yeah.
A lot of black folks running around.
Not a
right?
lot. No, not at all.
Feel
But
good?
then,
Feel
yeah,
good to come
it
here
did.
and like feel like you're in a bigger pond a little bit.
It did. And also just the culture in Nashville. So, I mean, the culture in Knoxville. So, like, when I came, I think Knoxville was the scruffy city. And now, you know, Knoxville's like the maker city, which, I mean, rightfully so. But that's what I enjoy about it. It's kind of, you know, it's kind of rough around the edges. You have your pockets. It's not too polished, not too pretentious, which is like things that I don't really gravitate towards. And it's, you know, I love the mountains. I love being in Appalachia. And where I'm from, it's just one county over from like Appalachia, what's considered Appalachia. So
Yeah, you're kind of like in between both,
The
right? Like
two.
you could go this way and be in this big
Exactly.
metropolitan city like Nashville, or go this way and be in the middle of impoverished.
literally,
areas.
yeah, absolutely. So I mean, you know, Knoxville's beautiful. Like I, at least in my eyes.
You like it here? You get to stay here?
We'll see. So I was actually planning to move to Atlanta in the summer of last year. And then
Tough
COVID
time.
happened. Yeah, COVID happened. I was like, I don't know if right now is the right time to move.
Well, you're a music industry person, so I mean,
This is
Atlanta
true.
has got it going on.
Precisely. A lot of opportunities, a lot of culture, a lot of different opportunities, especially for arts and entertainment.
Yeah.
But I've found, like, you know, while I've stayed in Knoxville, like a lot of, and that's why I like it here. You know, UT has the whole saying of Vols help Vols, but I think Knoxville as a community in some sorts, it adopts that too. You know, like if people know what you're trying to do, they're down to help you.
Yeah.
You know, or connect you with somebody that can help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you found your whole band here, right?
I did.
Is it going to be hard to leave them if you have to go?
Absolutely. But at the same time, like, you know, we have two members that don't live in Tennessee anymore. So Dexter, our guitarist, is in North Carolina.
Okay.
And then Mia just moved to New York.
Okay.
So things are going to be a little bit trickier. But, I mean, that's the thing about us. Like, when we need to come together, we come together. But
Yeah.
other times, it's like herding cats.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's why we don't have any music yet. But, I mean, even last year, like last January and February, we were in the studio, like, recording. And then COVID hit, and we were like, okay, there's no way 8 of us can be in this one tiny room doing this
You did the
anymore.
responsible
Yeah,
thing.
we did.
Yeah. What was that Monster Mash like? I mean, to be the first kind of show, because it felt like it was the first show back. You know?
I think it was. It was.
And it was what, 6 months? I mean, it was Halloween, so it was
Halloween, October.
7 months ago, which was very much.
That's crazy. 7 months.
Yeah, and it was in the middle of a huge bump of COVID. It was a tough time for the virus.
Absolutely.
But there was an outdoor drive-in concert that was just kind of like, please let us do something.
And like, shout out to the Second Bell folks, because I think
Yeah.
they worked
Rusty's
really
the man.
hard. Absolutely worked really hard to put that on and to keep folks safe. I think they did a
They feel
phenomenal job. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd
And
you
it looked
guys-
like the crowd was having fun. Like everyone.
They had to be.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
They were.
They were starved.
They were.
Yeah. What was it like? What was it like performing for a crowd for the first time in a long time, and in an era where it felt like it kind of felt like weird, right?
Did.
It felt weird to do it.
Absolutely. So I think in one sense it was refreshing because it gave us an excuse to like get back together and work on new songs. So that week we were pumped because we had been, meeting more than we had over the past, basically, last almost a year. And I think, just seeing the joy of the crowd, but also it's Halloween. It's like, that's already a festive season. People are dressed up. They're kind of, and to me, shows are like escapism. When I go to a show, I'm not, I'm in a zone, I'm in a bubble, I'm in a whole nother atmosphere. Yeah. So I think folks were just happy to have an atmosphere to be in.
Felt like they missed it, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And I bet you guys did too.
We did. We did. I think we needed it and wanted it as much as anyone who attended did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So growing up in Shelbyville, you got brothers and sisters?
So yes and no. So I was raised by my aunt. Okay. Yes. And so on my mom and my dad's side, my mom has two children that are my half sisters.
Okay.
And my dad has a son that's my half brother.
Okay.
And then my aunt, who I was raised with, is a baby boomer. So she has children. She was born in 1952. She has children who were like 10 or 15 years kind of older than me. So I felt like an only child. I was basically raised as the only child.
You were younger than all your brothers and sisters?
And by the time I lived with her, they were kind of like high school or at the age where they were moving out.
And they're your cousins?
Cousins. Okay, yeah. But in a sense, they were kind of like siblings because,
they're
they're
in the same house?
Exactly, for a little bit. But for the most part, I consider myself an only child.
Really?
Yeah.
But you kind of had some older folks to look at.
I did.
Okay. What were you into? What was growing up like? Shelbyville.
I was an artsy kid. I definitely loved painting. I loved drawing. I did band. I played clarinet.
That's an interesting instrument.
It is.
It's pretty cool.
I wish I kept up with
it. Half flute, half saxophone, like woodwind right there
Exactly.
in the middle.
Exactly. I wish I kept up with it. I wish I still knew how to play. I did that for a couple of years, and I was a thespian.
Nice.
For a while.
What'd you do? What kind of plays did you do?
So we did a lot of children's fairy tales.
Like in high school and all that?
In high school and middle school. Okay. We did a production of Annie, some Snow White, alternative versions.
Were you always the lead?
No.
You're like the tree.
I was like the supporting. So we did Snow White. I was the mirror, right? And so when I got cast as the mirror, I was like, this sucks. I'm the mirror. But then like the theater director sat me down and she was like, listen, you're comic relief. Okay, when you pop out, the crowd is ready for you. And so they made me like this PVC pipe, like rolling. It looked kind of like a wardrobe rack, a short wardrobe rack. Yeah. They streamed streamers, so I would just step out of it like a mirror and like step back into it. But it was fun. I got like spray painted silver, so that was pretty cool. But no, I did a lot of supporting roles. I was a good supporter.
There you go.
Yeah, the alley oop.
I'm a supporting guy.
Yeah,
supporting
you gotta know your lane.
Everybody
sometimes
needs support staff.
Precisely.
Yeah, not everybody can be the leading man.
Exactly. Yeah. So I did some theater. I was big into DECA. I don't know if y'all had DECA at your schools.
Is that marketing?
It's a marketing club. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's that like?
Basically,
it's like teaching high schoolers how to be marketers
through role playing. So like you do these assessments based on like real world scenarios of like what would you do in the situation. And then if you do good enough on your tests, basically you get to go to your state and first you're like your regional conferences and then your state conferences. And if you do well there, you can go to international conferences. And so my senior year, I don't know, I just lucked myself into an international spot. So like we got to go to California and do like the international DECA competition.
That's
and it was so cool. Fun. It was so fun. Yeah.
So you're in high school and you're getting to travel the world all of a sudden.
Basically.
Had you done any traveling before that, or was that like?
So
was that the first thing?
My aunt was just a busy woman, so like we didn't stay home a lot. I say like we rested our head in Shelbyville. We were definitely all over. So I was used to going to like Memphis a lot as a child.
How far away was that?
Memphis was like 6 hours from Middle Tennessee.
Damn. That's as far away as it is from here.
Yeah.
It's a long way.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. That's like another state.
Yeah, it is. We used to go to, like, we went to Arkansas for, like, some funerals. We went to...
But going to California was, like, the next level, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All
like,
for the school program you were doing.
And I got to go for free, so I did a fundraiser. This was before, like, crowdfunding was huge. Like, this was, like, 2012. Or before it was huge where I was from. So, like, I just did a Facebook post. And was like, hey... I'm trying to get to this international conference.
Do you have to
Can
get
you guys
sponsors?
help me? Yeah, I did, and like I raised more than enough money for my airfare and for my hotel.
That's awesome.
It was, yeah. It was based in Anaheim, and then we got to go to like downtown LA. We got to go to Venice Beach, see a little bit. We got to walk like Hollywood Boulevard. We tried to find the Hollywood sign, but we got lost. But getting lost was also like the adventure, because like the homes there, the architecture was just amazing. So we were just like riding around the hills.
Next time you need to find the Hollywood sign, let me know, and I'll give you my old address.
Okay.
Because I lived on Gower, which was the street that like you walk.
Literally?
You walked up to
Wow.
my front door and you looked up and you saw the Hollywood sign just at the end of our street. It was framed by all the
What were you
trees.
doing there?
Acting.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I did the acting thing after high school and in college and all that. Went out there, get the game up.
Fellow thespians in the house.
I enjoyed living in LA.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a tough place to live, no doubt. But I mean, you're right there.
Absolutely.
It's the pulse, right?
Did you ever go to Knott's Berry Farms?
No.
Like the roller coaster park? Okay.
No, that was up to 5 a little bit. But that was the place to go if you were trying to have a good time. Is it a Six Flags thing?
I don't know.
It's kind of like that,
It was just
though, right?
like legitimately all roller coasters.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
a
like
roller
a
coaster
Six
fan,
Flags.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your favorite roller coaster you've ever been on?
It had to have been one at Knott's Berry Farms.
Really?
Like they just, I mean, I had too many options. That's all they had. That's all they really had was just roller coasters.
We went to, I remember when I was a kid, we went to, what was it called in Tampa? The I forget what it was called, but we went on this roller coaster called the Kumba, and it was just opened. It's brand new. And I rode on that thing. I was scared to death.
Christened it.
Absolutely scared. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Christened it. It had been open for a couple days. Scared me to death.
You're not a roller coaster person?
Can't do it.
Okay. All right.
Can't do it
They're
anymore.
not for everybody.
I don't know. I hadn't been on one in a while.
You're like a
If you're
Ferris
gonna
wheel man?
Ferris wheel?
What's your level of
I'm
like...
more of a Ferris wheel
Okay,
guy.
okay.
Yeah,
Hey, Ferris wheels are nice.
Yeah, I hadn't been to a theme park in a while. Dollywood's open now.
Dollywood is open.
Have you been there?
I haven't been since like 2010.
But you have been.
Before. Yeah, I've been. Yeah.
Oh, before you moved here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I used to come like every summer with my cousin.
Nice.
We would come up, stay.
Hadn't been in a minute. I'll tell you what, Dolly's having a moment right now, isn't she?
She is. Shout out to Dolly.
Everybody's loving some Dolly right now.
I didn't know that about growing up, like she was from East Tennessee, like so like even in Knoxville, like people are Dolly crazy. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Like, she's an amazing woman.
Yeah.
Amazing legacy that she has too.
Mm.
I feel like she does a lot to like, she invests her money in the community. It seems like in some sense,
like it.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have to admit, one of the reasons that I love her so much is because half the books I own
From her reading
are from Imagination Library, you know? And that's crazy to think, like, you know, you'd think I'd go buy books for my kids because I, care about literacy and care about my kids learning
Education,
and all that.
yeah.
Yes, and all that. But honestly,
Why?
half
if
the
Dolly's
books.
giving you, yeah, right.
Dolly's giving me books, and it's like my kids love them. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. It's amazing what she's done. And then, I wonder if she is definitely a PR mastermind. There's no doubt about it. So I know that the appreciation I have for her is real, but I wonder how much of it is curated too. Like, I wonder how much, like the whole vaccine thing. Like, she got the
You did it because
COVID vaccine,
right,
and
right.
she said, I'm getting a dose of my own medicine because she donated $1 million to it, right?
No, that's brilliant marketing, brilliant
It's
advertising.
brilliant.
Yeah. And like I graduated from the school of like communication. So, I mean, just studying communication and like information science, it's a science, you know?
Yeah.
You kind of know how people,
Yes.
you learn how people think, and you learn
Yes.
how to like give them messages to make them or not make them do a certain thing. It's a science.
And so with Dolly, she's obviously, you know, one of the most prolific country recording artists.
She is. But
Ever.
The voice of an angel, honestly.
Yes. And the heart of an angel,
Heart of an angel.
too. But I wonder how much of that heart of an angel thing is curated. And I'm not trying to disparage Dolly.
I know,
That's a great way to
see?
get your
See?
podcast canceled right there.
And you never know.
I know. She's brilliant.
Until
she's
you know.
She's like a Taylor Swift in that way.
She is.
Taylor Swift.
Better. Like Dolly's up here. Taylor is like.
I know, but Taylor Swift has a wonderful marketing mind.
She does.
Also, I think
Absolutely.
that's your next Dolly, right there.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I think so. You know, music aside, I think Taylor Swift
Oh, in
has
terms of
got
marketing, absolutely.
in terms of
Absolutely.
marketing herself and getting the image out there and always doing the right thing. Watch out.
Yeah, it is.
50
But
years, I
feel
bet you'll
like
see Taylor Swift out
in
there
an
doing the same
alternate
thing.
world, Miley Cyrus is like the sit-in Dolly. I mean, and they're also like pretty, like, you know, pretty tight too.
Are they friends?
Like, I think Dolly was like her godmother of
Really?
sorts. Yeah.
I'm a big Miley Cyrus fan.
So I fell
BT
off.
dubs.
I fell off the Molly train for a minute there.
Yeah.
But these new songs and like her rock and roll edge. I mean, she's always had like an edge to her.
Yeah.
But like, did she do like a Blondie
Yeah.
cover?
Yeah.
Heart of.
And then half her album sounds like a Blondie album.
It does,
too,
and I'm
you
not.
know?
I'm not mad at it.
I'm not either.
Not at
It's
all.
good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Her
She's
voice
legit.
is really nice too.
It's great.
Mm-hmm.
And she's had some issues with her voice too, like her larynx and all that. Like she's had to have some work done because
See, I didn't know that.
yeah, well, alcohol, smoking,
Yeah,
all that's
drugs.
kind of effed her up a little bit. But
Yeah.
she's gotten back at it, and
She sounds so good.
She does. She sounds great, and also not mad if she's a little bit of a role model for my daughters now because she's like got her shit together.
She
and
does.
She's kind of getting it all put
And
back
she's
in-
opinionated, and she's not afraid to share that. And I think that's, you know, like, or what I hope the new generation, like, you know, say what's on your mind or speak it, but also be open to listen.
Yeah. It's weird that her dad was so famous.
But
But for
okay,
one
wasn't he
song.
technically a one-hit wonder?
Kinda.
Yeah,
but,
he was.
But it's almost like MC Hammer was a one-hit wonder.
Absolutely.
You know? It's
he's in the
like-
culture. Like, he's ingrained
Yeah.
in culture. Same with Billy Ray.
Exactly.
And with the Hannah Montana, like, for me,
Yeah.
a
so
millennial, like, Hannah Montana was the shit.
growing up, was that on the
growing
TV?
up, absolutely.
Really? See, I was a little bit past that. I didn't see
Yeah,
it when I was growing up. I'm a millennial too, but like older.
I'm
older
at the,
one.
like, the cusp.
Yeah, you're almost Gen Z.
Almost, but I'm not.
Yeah.
And also, I was raised by a baby boomer. So it's like, you know, my parents are a lot older than most. So I definitely, you know, I relate to a lot of, like, you know, people who are also raised by baby boomers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Miley is something else though. I'm with you though. I can see the Dolly
No,
in
her
her
trajectory, yeah. If she,
I can see that too. She's a little grungy though.
absolutely. And that's
you know,
what I like. That's what I like.
Yeah, a little grit.
Yeah,
Little grit to
little
her.
grind.
I like that too.
Yeah.
See, and that's why when I say Taylor Swift being the next kind of Dolly trajectory, it's because she's so shiny and clean and all that. Yeah.
She is.
Miley's not afraid to tell you about her
Not at all.
drug addiction.
Not at all.
You know?
Not at all. Or maybe like shake a little ass, you know?
Yeah.
Miley will do it, you know? Molly will do it.
Yeah.
She's not afraid.
Yeah. You like it here? You like that you came to the university
Mm-hmm.
and stayed, which is like
Not a lot of people do. Like almost all of my friends moved.
really?
Yeah.
After they came? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you're glad you stayed?
Absolutely. And I was in a space where I was like, I needed to decompress from being in school for just so long, and also just figure out what am I doing with my life? Like, who am I actually? Like, what do I want? And I like those are questions that I'm still asking, and I think like in a way we always ask that, you know, as life continues and like we get older. But Knoxville was a great place to do that, and to have the space and the community to figure stuff out.
Yeah, it's a good place to figure your shit out because nobody's judging you. It's easy to survive. It's not like you're in New York or LA
Absolutely.
where you're just
cost of living is not too high either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of people find themselves in that situation after college, coming to the university, and being able to hang out for you know, a little bit and kind of sort it out. You're not urged to get to it and find another place to be. It's a comfortable place to kind of hang out, figure your shit out, get that whole thing together, which I don't think is bad. And I think it ultimately helps nurture our art scene because people very much in your situation get done with school, they've had this beast of music or whatever eating at them for years and years, and then they're finally at a place where they don't have, you know,
all
finals
obligations. Yeah,
and they can sit there and let it roll, and they have an outlet, and there's as much as you want. You want to take your outlet out there and get after it. You want to go play the pilot light, cool.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There's just there's this platform for people to let it eat. Let the big dog eat.
No, and like even like shout out to Jason Boardman and like the Pilot Light crew, because that's kind of like what they stand for, is like for those folks who don't have another stage to go to, you know, or can't get booked or won't be asked to play bigger spaces. Like Pilot Light and Birdhouse are one of the only places like really DIY, really indie, really punk artists can play, you know, or will be welcomed to play.
Not laughed out of there.
Precisely.
Yeah, you don't have to be a touring act to go do it. But then you go to the Pilot Light and you see an artist there who in 2 years is Sturgill Simpson.
Absolutely.
Or Margot Price, both of which played the Pilot Light, you know,
Absolutely.
a year before they
Absolutely.
won Grammys. It's kind of outrageous.
It is. This is a special place. Knoxville is a special place. Yeah.
I agree.
What's your favorite parts? Or what's kept you here? Yeah.
What's kept me here is family. I mean, my parents live here. My wife's family lives here. I'd be happy living anywhere in the country. I could do it. I could live in California. I could live in New York. I'd live anywhere. Love it. Probably work too, you know. But the family part has been what's kept me here. But then also outside of that, it's just not hard to enjoy yourself here. You know,
Precisely.
You don't have to look that far to find something awesome to do. And, you know, I like to spend time outdoors or in public at restaurants and bars and public concerts or whatever. You know, it's got everything you need. It's not a hard place to live. It's just easy. It gives me everything I need.
I agree.
And then my family lives here too. So that's all just.
It's a win-win. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't mess with it. Do you miss your family? Being here, being kind of siloed or on your own.
So like, and I watched it like Tom Petty's like 4-hour-long documentary. And like there are a lot of hidden gems in there, but there was one segment where he was talking about like growing up estranged from your parents. You kind of just have like a certain detachment from things.
Yeah. And
like I definitely feel that. So like I'm used to self-soothing, or like, you know, just like being a self-sufficient.
Yeah, like having to carry your own bucket of rocks. You're having to make yourself feel all right.
I love my family, but I think I've definitely been, by my circumstances, just an independent person, and just a person who can, like, you know, be very self-motivated and like self-sufficient. So I mean, I love my family, you know, but I definitely enjoy independence, and I definitely enjoy having a space to, like, you know, to still myself, and also to like question things, and to have the space to figure, like, to answer those questions to myself and not have them thrown at me, which doesn't, sometimes, you know, family will answer the questions for you before you can even, you know, find your own
What
find
about
your
your
own way.
aunt?
So my aunt, like I said, she's a
like your
baby
mom,
boomer,
right?
so, you know, she has her own thoughts about the world and how it works. But I will say, and I don't know if you have a similar experience, but I feel like once you move out from living with your parents for so long, you kind of come to know how to interact with them, or how to like maneuver along with them. So I feel like now we're like the closest that we've been.
Really?
Yeah. Since like
And
post
she
grad,
was like
since
your
I moved
mom
away.
growing up.
Absolutely.
So is there anybody you're closer to than her?
My dad. So like, and I,
So you and your
like I
dad
said,
are in
I
touch.
had a strange relationship. So I was basically raised by my aunt and my grandfather. My parents were like strung out on drugs, in and out of jail, and that's how I came to live with my mom. Like I was in like DCS.
Well, you said your mom.
Yeah. So
Is that what you
until
call
I
her?
was like, no, like my actual
Oh, okay.
mother. I lived with her till I was like 3, and then just some things happened, and like I was placed in DCS custody, and my aunt worked for DHS, like Department of Human Services,
Yeah.
and someone was like, hey, I think your niece is in the system, and she didn't
Yeah.
even know she had a niece.
Really?
But yeah, I don't think she knew that
Wow.
that my dad had a child.
Gotcha.
And so
So
it
it's your
just, I mean,
dad's
it
sister.
was a blessing, definitely a blessing, because I know a lot of people in my situation, you're placed in another home, you're not with your family. And I definitely feel like I had a good opportunity to not only be placed with my family, but also to have access to my mom, access to my dad.
Yeah, that's huge.
So they were there, and my grandfather was actually like my best friend in this world.
Really?
My best friend in this world. He was. I'm a Leo. He's also a Leo. So I feel like we just clicked. He's literally the best person like I've ever met in my whole entire life. I try to model my life, my outlook after him. He passed away when I was 8. And that was that was so rough on me. But it was like around that time my dad kind of straightened up his life.
Really?
Yeah, he was
Got back in?
homeless. Yeah, like I remember like going to Nashville, looking under underpasses, like trying to find
real?
trying to find my dad. But he's turned his life around, complete 360. And so like he's probably like one of my best friends right now.
Your dad
Yeah.
is? That's awesome.
Yeah, and a huge soul music fan. He's a huge jazz head. So I think all my music taste, all of my knowledge, it comes from him. So
your dad got his shit together.
your dad got his
He's
shit together.
all about his daughter now?
Absolutely.
You guys are buddies?
Absolutely. We go biking, biking on the weekends.
Hell
We go
yes.
riding, like flea markets and thrift stores. I grew up on both of those things.
Really?
So we used to go like ride to Nashville, go to the flea market, Nashville flea market, go to the thrift stores, go to some pawn shops, get some ice cream, and that was like our father-daughter thing. And we still do the same. Like he comes up to Knoxville every now and again.
And he's got his shit together.
got his shit together. Yeah.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
Ty.
it is. I'm proud of him.
Are you?
Yeah. Because, I mean, addiction's not an easy thing. Not a lot of people, can do the complete 360. So, I mean, I think he's a survivor, especially of his circumstance. And, like, to me, that's why also working with Black Mama's Bailout was a huge thing for me.
Really?
Because it's like I'm a kind of a product of the system, or an offset of the system and what the system can do to families and, like, displacing families and things.
It's interesting though that you've also been able to see like the triumphs of
Absolutely.
that work too.
Absolutely.
What can happen if it works.
Absolutely. And like the power of forgiveness. And I'm not saying like, everyone deserves a part in your life depending on how they've hurt you.
Right.
Or what your relationship is, but not giving up and being resilient and being open to people who are really willing to change their lives. That's been huge for me.
Did you keep contact with your parents through all that toughness?
My mom, yes, she was definitely like in and out of jail. Like, so
Really? Both of them were? Mom
both of
and
them
dad?
were. My mom more than my dad. Like I said, like, when my grandfather passed away, my dad, like, it was just like a flip switch. Like, he was, like, okay, I'm committed, to
Really?
doing something right and to turning things around. But I remember I used to write letters to my mom in jail. Like, that was a thing. Like, that's
Really?
that's how we communicated. And to me, that's why I love writing letters now. It's like, it's a sacred form of communication. It's like a more of an intimate, conversation. Like, you have one sheet of paper. How do you tell your story? How do you get across what you want to say? But I mean, we're kind of estranged right now.
You
but,
and Mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have her number. She has my number.
Yeah. Talk if you want to.
Precisely. And growing up, I was like, fuck the world, a mild sense of angst was always just like, brewing. And also
Yeah.
in Tom Petty's documentary, he talks about that, like, when you are estranged from your family, estranged from the people who really birthed you. There is a sense of like you have to prove something, and I still find myself feeling that in a certain sense. But I'm definitely an independent person. I've had to be resourceful, and so these are things that have helped me along the way. Absolutely.
Did Tom Petty have the same situation?
Not the same, but he definitely like, I think he went from like home to home. His parents were like in and out of the streets.
Yeah.
So he was used to taking care of himself and like raising himself in a sense. And like, I feel the same. Like, I mean, that's, I think why my heart also gravitates towards rock and roll. 'Cause there is an edge, there is a grit, there is like a sense of like, I'm going to let you know how I feel and it's not pleasant, but how else can I get myself across besides screaming or, playing this really sad or really, melancholy tune.
And there's nothing wrong with me feeling this way.
Absolutely not. And you do too, and
Yeah.
you can relate to how I feel.
That's pretty dope.
It is. I mean, I love rock and roll. I love funk. I love music in general. And I mean, that helps me cope with things. It helps me escape. It helps me heal. It helps me express.
You got to keep making it because your shit is awesome.
I feel like I do.
Yeah.
Like Erykah Badu says, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. And I agree. I agree. So to me, it's very easy to make music, but to release it and to share it, that's a whole nother process, a whole nother, a whole nother step, another layer.
It's not the same discipline?
It's not the same discipline.
Really?
Because like to me, it's like a lot of stuff that I write is like a way to express and a way to get off of my chest what's on there. And it's like once I can do that, I'm kind of good. If nobody else hears it,
Yeah.
But if like, I'm able to play it and I'm able to find at least somebody who relates, like it can be a friend, it could be a bandmate, that's good for me. But I'm realizing too, and even in COVID, sharing your story or sharing your experience, it helps us all cope. It helps us all relate, and heal and overcome and get to the next level, which is another reason why I'm glad I stayed in Knoxville. Because like, I've had a lot of people who wanted to make sure, you had what you needed, during the pandemic,
Yeah. Do you write lyrics?
Yes.
You do?
I write poetry, but sometimes just lyrics, like, with the intention of making them a song, but
Right.
absolutely poems. I might, like, I cannot lie and say I'm a really good bass player. I'm not. My bass has collected a good amount of dust. And it's crazy because once you get out of the practice of playing, even like my fingers, like
They forgot?
or it's hard to hold down, or it's harder to hold down strings and play for a long time without feeling the need, like, or like my hands
the muscle
cramping up.
memory and the
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I've tried to dust my bass off during the pandemic and to get back. So sometimes I write lyrics, sometimes I just get on my bass and like I might do a riff, or like get on GarageBand and play around. But that's why, I kind of miss just being able to just jam out with other people in a room safely, which I think we're getting to that point where we can do that again.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah.
Everybody can. It's to the point where everybody can be vaccinated if they want to, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not, it's kind of your choice at that point.
It is. Or being safe, or being like COVID conscious, like that's the whole thing. Like masking up if you're around environments that you haven't been in, if you're not vaccinated, sometimes if you are. And like, the whole thing, I think we as a population have had to decide, how do we govern ourselves? Because I don't know if the information that we're getting, is the best.
That was a big thing from the beginning, and still kind of is. We're kind of, I think we're kind of in a little bit better shape now because it's so ubiquitous. The information is everywhere. Everybody's listening to the information. Everybody is vetting the information.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like what we're getting now is a little bit more trustworthy because everybody's listening to it, and so there's a lot more people to call bullshit on it if it's not true.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I feel like we're slowly climbing out, man.
We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere.
Yeah, we are getting somewhere.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a weird thing. I think when we look back in 50 years,
Oh, absolutely. Our lives will be forever changed. Like, people were saying, like, AC after COVID, BC before COVID.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna
You
be a
think
thing.
so?
I think so. Like,
You think our
so
grandkids are gonna ask us, be like, "What was it
what
like?"
was it like? I
Yeah.
think so. Like,
Be like,
even
"Did you get it? Did you get it? Did
I
you?"
know.
They're gonna be asking us.
I saw like a tweet that was like, I'm gonna tell my grandkids I had to like fight off zombies and like, do all this wild stuff.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, hey, in a sense,
It's kind of
and
true.
it's kind of like a post-apocalyptic vibes.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It's definitely an era. It's
Absolutely.
gonna be an era that we lived through
Absolutely.
and that we did. I went to South America last week, and they
Yeah,
are
you're-
in the throes of another wave.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it was kind of crazy because everybody that we went with, all Americans,
Mm-hmm.
all allowed and could get the vaccine. We all did, and nobody down there has gotten it, and so they're all just on edge. They're where we were at 6 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of weird because it feels like almost some kind of class
It is.
weirdness.
Healthcare is
Yes.
in America. I mean, maybe over the world, but yeah.
And it made me realize like how fortunate we are to be able to get it if we want it. Get the vaccine if you want it. If you don't want it, that's cool too.
Absolutely.
That's fine. But those guys down in Colombia where I was
Mm-hmm.
they don't have the option. They can't get it. The rich Colombians are flying to Miami on the
get it.
weekend to get the vaccine and then flying back, and then nobody else has it. And so it really made me very grateful to live in a place where we have the freedom to decide how to take care of our own health in a
Absolutely.
way. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. But we have the option
option.
to do it, which they don't. And it almost made me feel bad. Almost
First world problem.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. Yeah.
More than anything, I felt guilty of like, fuck, man, we're all here arguing over whether or not it's a scam, and these people
They don't
over
have the
here
option.
would die to get the, would love to
vaccine.
have the option to get the vaccine right now. This is a good little, it was a good perspective
Yeah,
jump.
I mean, hey.
Yeah,
Capitalism.
yeah, we're lucky, man.
Yeah, this is true.
We are kind of lucky. You want to play some music for us?
I will. So another BC before COVID venture I was doing was like, absolutely with Temp Job, we were still, trying to record an album.
Yeah.
But I definitely, like I mentioned, like I took bass lessons. I let a full year absolutely go by without even touching my bass. And like, that's crazy how some things can be muscle memory, but some things can also be like, I have to relearn this whole thing, like Spanish. If you go a whole year without speaking it, you're definitely going to be rusty. You're definitely going to have to.
There's no bicycle to it.
No, no. And like, to me, at least, where I'm not, I no longer can read sheet music. That's why I wish I also had kept up with like playing clarinet and like bass things, because I definitely, I could read music. I could tell you what, whatever notes were on the scale. But now it's no longer the same case. So I have been trying in 2019 and the beginning of 2020 to get together a solo project of sorts. Definitely with some ESG vibes. Like I mentioned, ESG. They were an all black punk group out of New York in like the 80s. There was like a bassist, a guitarist, a vocalist, a drummer. And they were just some dope women who were just very raw and uncut. So they were huge inspirations. Also, Susie and the Banshees. They're like my hidden obsession. Like I love Susie and the Banshees. And just her, like, her raw grit. So I had, in 2019, done a show at Goat Gallery.
Where's that?
Which was a really cool DIY space in like North Knoxville area. Shout out to Chrissy, who owned the space and like we would book artists. And so I played a show there in 2019. One of the craziest shows I've ever been to. Like somebody caught on fire
A person
A person
caught on fire.
caught on fire, like
Not like the building.
you know.
or
I
anything?
see you're doing a great job. You have a candle that's not an actual like.
Yeah, it's like an LED.
Yeah, it's an
kinda deal.
LED candle, but they had like candles, you know, like, and that's, hey, folks at home, if you're doing a live music show, do not have real candles out where people can, you know, bump into them. If you do have them in a safe space. But basically, a guy had like backed into the candle. But here's the thing about punk and about like rock and roll shows. It might be a gimmick, you know, it might be the way somebody enters the stage. Or there was a point in time where everybody in the room was like, oh my gosh, like he's on fire, like, ah.
Do you know about Colonel Bruce Hampton?
No.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but do you know about this guy?
I do not.
Okay. Colonel Bruce Hampton was a musician, Athens, Georgia kind of guy. And he was always just this kind of like almost a merry prankster kind of individual. And they were throwing a birthday party for him in, I think it was Athens. I think it was at the Georgia Theater. I could be wrong about that. It was, I think, his 70th birthday, maybe his 80th birthday. I forget what it was. But he had a fucking heart attack on stage.
Oh, a literal.
And everybody thought
It was
he was goofing. And he died on stage at his birthday party. Yes. It's the same thing you're talking about.
Oh, no. Because it's like, you know.
Yeah, because like, oh, this is just part of the gag. You know? Next thing you know.
And you're like, should we get help? No, it's
No,
part of the thing,
it's
right?
part
You
of
don't
the
want to
thing.
mess it up.
Yes, exactly.
Same thing. So basically.
Caught on fire?
The back of his shirt is like in flames. You know, everyone's like, oh. But then at one point, somebody's like yelling, get on the floor, get on the floor. But the thing is, the guy who's on fire, he doesn't know, he's unaware of the fact that like the back of his shirt is like engulfed in flames. And people are like throwing stuff at him, like to try to bat it. But like when they say stop, drop, and roll,
That's the best way to get
that
out of
is literally there. You can't beat it out. You can't spray water. Like stop, drop, and roll to put out a flame, folks. Just so you know. But basically, people were trying to like, you know, beat his back, and finally he does get to the ground. And when he stands up, there's like, you know, the back. He had on like a flannel, and like the back of his shirt is just missing. And somebody goes to like brush him off, and when they pull their hands back, like skin, like you just see stuff. It was literally like. But if you see his composure, he was so normal, so chill about it. And at first he was like, yeah, let me just get another, like, you know, give me another, like, drink. Like, yeah, let's get to the next band. And finally somebody's like, no, dude,
Bro,
you need to go home. And so his name is Waylon. Waylon, shout out to you. I believe Waylon moved to Texas. But Waylon had to get a skin graft after
I bet
that.
he did.
Yeah.
He didn't even feel it.
He didn't even feel it.
What
But
a
I will
guy.
say this. Temp Job, in one of our practices / jam sessions, we were just getting it. And, you know, we do have a song, I'm on Fire. And, like, you know, I would dedicate that song to Waylon.
Every time?
Every time. And one time, he was in the crowd. And I didn't even know. Like, I never knew what happened to him until that night. Waylon was, like, in the crowd.
He was back?
He was back.
With
and he
the
was
skin
like,
grafts and everything?
With the skin graft. He was like, dude, that was me. That was me. And I was just like, oh my gosh. For one, thank you for coming to the show. For two, I'm so glad you're alive and you're healthy and, like, you know, you bounce back. But the song, one of the songs I'll play for you, I came that night to do some hip hop and to do some like 80s house, you know, Chicago house type deal. The sound was not on par. So, you know, Sam, shout out to you. You know, you got the sound on lock here, but like the sound was not working, you know, so you couldn't really hear my music. It was just like me vibing over a non-existent track. But at the end of the night, after Waylon went home, you know, after all this excitement, there was like just a jam going on. And so I didn't know anyone was recording, you know.
But
this is a recording from the night. Yeah, from the night. So this is just a little vibe here. And so after that night, like, it was such a genuine and an organic type of jam. You know, we did like 4 songs. Stay tuned, folks, because, you know, I've been trying to think about either reviving this project or maybe just releasing these on Bandcamp.
Was this a Temp Job thing?
No. This was just me.
You?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, you know, when I do music, I usually go by DJ Tie Dye, or just Tie Dye. You know, get the tie. You know, I was trying to think of a little catchy, you know, a little catchy thing. So here's one of the songs from Goat Gallery. Again, this is the night that Wayland caught on fire. It was a magical night.
You gonna play something for us?
I'm gonna play like two things. I'm gonna play like
Nice.
two things for you.
Ty,
Yes.
thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having
This
me.
is awesome.
You know, we had a rocky start there.
Did
But
we?
hey, oh, was I not supposed to say that? Like,
You're talking
yeah.
about the hour you got here when I was asleep.
maybe I might be alluding to that. Okay, so here we go.
Let's do it. Where was this?
Goat Gallery. So there's David. David's on the drums. We got Carter on the guitar. I'm on
Go
vocals.
Gallery, though. You said North Knox.
It was off of Old Broadway. Do you know, or have you ever seen the Birds of a Feather place? Like this sold parakeets and stuff.
No.
Okay. It was right there. So basically, that was us just like jamming out. It was so like just organic. So after that night, we all exchanged contact info when we were like, hey, let's get back together. Let's try to, you know, see if something happens. So basically with that group, we did have like one more session. And like that's just the magic of music and like the magic of just jam sessions sometimes. Sometimes like, you know, you capture that moment and then sometimes just like, you know, you can't force it. Or sometimes you can, and you can tell, you know, when it's forced. Or some people like that sound. I'm not one. So we did try to get together, but everyone's schedules, you know, were just kind of like out of whack. But I did keep in contact with the drummer. His name is David. He's also a part of a jazz punk band called Good Vibes Only, which is one of my favorite Knoxville hidden gems. Like they're so good, and you wouldn't think of jazz and punk together, but they're amazing. Their frontman Colin is just like he's an amazing frontman, and he knows how to put on a show. So I did get together with him, and I rallied up my pal Matt, who plays guitar, and he just moved to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, so he's still doing music. He's in a band called Blue Willow, which are doing some cool shit right now. But I did get together with them, and like this was 2019, beginning of 2020. I was just playing around with my bass, and so I sent them this tune, and then after I sent them this tune, we met up, and we made the second half of the song that I'll play. So I was just like on my bass, just messing around.
Was that you playing the bass right there?
This is the first edition. It's just very punky. I just learned how to play with a pick. You know,
like punky.
I'm used to playing with my fingers. So I sent them that, and I was like, you know, I want to make this just like, you know, a lot of rock and roll atmosphere, a lot of like fuck it energy. And so the next song I played is like what we were doing at the beginning of 2020, like January 2020. We had recorded this, and this is me on bass. Yeah. We got David on drums and Matt on guitar.
Punk rock shit right there. I didn't take you for a punk rocker.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's the kind of shit I was trying to do. And then Corona came by and she was like, I know you have plans. I know you planned this pretty picnic, but you did not predict the weather. So, you know, I'm in that state now where I think, you know, it's you know, mildly safe, you know, to be crammed in a room, you know, with like 3 other people. So I'm
getting there.
We're getting there. So, you know,
there.
I'm looking to you know, because like, you know, I played you the original, just like me fucking around on the bass version of that.
Yes.
I have like, you know, lots of voice recordings in my phone of just, you know, stuff like that. So I'm in a space now where I'm trying to go through it and pick out the good stuff. So I mean, it's my goal.
You're iterating.
I'm iterating. Yeah. So it's my goal within, you know, like maybe fall time this year, like next year, to like kind of corral some folks back together, because David's like, he's been working like crazy, and Matt moved to Murfreesboro, so I'll be in the market to get back a band, you know, and like that's kind of my thing. So I came from like the hip hop world. When I was at UT, there was a group on campus called Study Break Cyphers, which I was a part of and also on the like advisory committee of. And so basically we were like hip hop heads. We would get together, we would have workshops on how to build beats, on how to perform live, and we would also have ciphers like every Thursday outside of Hodges.
What's a cipher?
A cipher is like a hip hop showdown. You know, it's like a battle back and forth between MCs, between artists, and like, you know, you would have rounds like a boxing match, you know, and you would go head to head. And you know, there can only be one winner at the end of the night.
One man,
standing. Right. Literally one man left standing. So we would do that every Thursday, and it was just, I mean, a fun opportunity. We would always have a crowd that would come out, you know, from studying, you know, or just people that are just walking by and just wander upon what we're doing. So, you know, I'm so used to that world, and like, you know, there's definitely an art with hip hop, you know, and MCs that can just get on the stage and it's just them and a beat. And can still control the crowd and keep the crowd engaged. Like, that's an art form. And I'm birthed out of that. But I also love just the feeling of being on stage with like a band, or just having people there to collaborate and to just make this whole mod podge of like atmosphere and music and noise, which is what I love. So, you know, that's what I'm looking forward to, is like going to more live shows, also playing more live shows, getting a band back together, writing more.
We got to get you on stage more
you
often.
Do.
Yes.
You got to.
How do we do it, Ty? What do we do? What do we got to do?
I need to find a guitarist and a drummer.
There you go.
You know, that has the time and the schedule just to fuck around and play around. And, you know, who's down to experiment. And that's kind of what I'm about with music and stuff. And I need to start playing the bass more, you know, so I can get my chops up. You know, I can know what I'm doing.
Have you seen Krung Ben?
they're one of my favorites. Like they're on my like to see list. Like, and I
Really?
saw that they're playing Pitchfork, I believe, 2021, and I was just like, oh, should I get tickets? Should I go? Like, I love Khruangbin.
Have you seen a trio make that much noise?
I
in your
haven't.
life? Since,
I haven't.
Like, Rush.
And their bassist is a woman, so like
Yeah.
I mean, and she's like in her pocket. Like I've watched their live shows on like YouTube and stuff. She's inspirational.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also like Tina, I think her last name was like Waysmith from like the Talking Heads and Tom Tom Club.
Yeah.
Like she's also inspirational, like playing the bass too. Yeah.
She didn't take no shit.
She didn't take no shit. She
At
didn't take
all.
no shit. Not at all. And the band Taste of Honey, you know, their bass is like a badass, like inspirational for me to get my shit together. So
Really?
I got to get myself together.
I think you could do a trio.
You
know?
think? Yeah. I mean,
I think you could be the front woman
Hey.
of a good trio.
hey, I'm open. I mean, like I said, like I'm a Leo, you know, so like, you know, being on stage or like, you know, performing, and like even when I did theater, like that's, I'm not gonna say it comes natural, but like I feel very natural while doing it.
You
but
feel
also
all right in the spotlight.
I feel all right in the, hey, I'm gonna have to write that one down. I do. Yeah. And I mean I love music, even outside of playing it, you know, like just listening to music. I love it. Like that's a pastime. That's a hobby for me. Finding new music, listening to new
I
music.
feel like you were built to do it. I mean, you've kind of made your life about it.
At
you
this
know?
point,
I mean, not
it's
even
central.
just playing it, but being a part of the back end of it too.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, and for me, that's what kept me so happy is like, you know, even if I wasn't playing it, you know, just working in it. Like I absolutely adore and am fascinated by the world of entertainment and especially by the world of music. I love being around artsy people, musicians, creatives in general. Like I think I thrive off of that, and I give back as much as I take. And that's why, you know, I'm so ready to not, and I know we're not going to be back to normal. Like we're going to be in like a shifted, you know, sense of living after this. But I am ready to definitely like do like a crowd dive back into, you know, into music and live music. Like, and that's why I love about Knoxville. Like, you know, we might not get like everybody that comes through here, like in terms of touring, or
We might get them on a Tuesday or Wednesday. They're
Precisely.
playing at Atlanta on Friday and Nashville on Saturday.
precisely. And that's why, you know, I've seen so many good shows, and like shout out to again Benny and WTK. I've seen so many shows for
Smith, my
free.
boy.
Yeah, or as a perk from working at the radio station, you know. And they give so many, like there's so many giveaways. And of course, COVID has halted the amount of stuff that we're able to give away, or live music in general. But keep tuned, folks. Keep tuned. I know that they're doing a Bonner or a Bust
When's your show?
Sunday, 6 to 8.
Okay. On
90.3 The Rock. Yeah. If you're into funk, if you're into soul, if you're into feel good music,
Everybody's into funk.
that's what I mean. How can you not be? To me, I mean, yeah. Come on, it's a way of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ty, I'm so glad we did this. Thank
Same.
you for coming here.
Same. Thank you for having
I'm glad
me.
to
Thank you for having
sit
me.
across from you for a minute.
Precisely. I mean, I think, you know, I met you through production world, which is
Yeah.
entirely new to me, and I'm very thankful to have been like kind of thrown in the midst, because like production world is cool. It really is.
You didn't miss a beat, man. You're ready to roll right away.
I hope so. We'll see.
Yeah. Let's do this again sometime.
Same.
You want to?
Absolutely.
Love seeing you.
Maybe when I get my band together.
Back together.
Back together. Or absolutely Temp Job, you know, if we can, you know, if we can herd all the cats together.
It's a hard thing to do,
Yeah,
but
it is.
I think you got what.
It's not impossible.
No, it's
No.
not. Thank you.
Thank you.
So much, Ty.
You're welcome.
Let's listen to some more of your music.
Some more music? Okay. So this next one is probably one of the first songs that I played, and also one of the first songs I played playing bass. Shout out to Henry Pack, who played drums and guitar, and also who mixed and mastered this. It's called Free Your Mind. This is an oldie but a goodie.
Rage Against the Machine. Like Blondie and Rage Against the Machine.
Absolutely. And like Rage Against the Machine was also like inspirational for Outkast and even like Andre 3000 when they did Bombs Over Baghdad.
Yeah.
That was like Rage Against the Machine like influenced as well. I mean, I don't have your Wi-Fi, but if I get your Wi-Fi, I can also do a little something live.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Jellyfish is the password.
Okay. We're searching for networks here. Okay. I don't see any other networks, but I do have a song saved on here. Okay, so I alluded to Study Break Cypher, which is a really cool organization at UT. And like literally Study Break Cypher stood there to be a safe space for people who are interested in hip hop, but also music in general. And so it was basically a place where you know, folks would get together, they would make beats, they would get together and perform. So like I'm definitely a graduate of the school of Study Break. So shout out to Study Break, shout out to Clint, shout out to Dan. They were kind of like the forefathers of Study Break. And this next song is like influenced by Diggable Planets, which is one of my favorite like hip hop groups. They're from New York. This is instrumental. Can I play instrumentals? Like, is that a podcast thing? You know, like, okay, cool. Okay. Oh, thank you.
Can't mess up here.
Well, I beg to differ, but I'm glad you are so welcoming and willing. So I'm gonna do a little cover, but an original poem that turned into a hip hop track. This is a classic, Pacifics. Feeling how I'm feeling, I'm chilling. 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 What do you see when you look at me? The aura of my soul, sacred femininity, divine energy. I represent the him in me. A native to the sky, I manifest my destiny. Why these folk keep stressing me? They can't get the best of me, cause I got the recipe. The universe keep blessing me. I'll illuminate your soul and use my light as superpower. An electric butterfly with the bees and the flowers. My life, be like this. I'm living in a realm where enlightenment is bliss. I got them solar vibrations in the spiritual abyss. They call it melanin, I just call it sun-kissed. Blazing, so amazing, grass grazing, I ain't craving what they praising with no debating. Goddess of the sun, I'm burning 3,000 degrees. Not worry about a thing, happiness is what I sing. Feel how I feel when I feel what I'm feeling. I'm chilling. Feel how I feel when I feel what I'm feeling. I'm chilling. I'm chilling. I'm chilling. I'm chilling. I'm chilling. What do you see when you look at me? The aura of my soul, sacred femininity, divine energy. I represent the him in me. A native to the sky, I manifest my destiny. Why these folk keep stressing me? They can't get the best of me, cause I got the recipe. The universe keep blessing me. I'll illuminate your soul and use my light as superpower. An electric butterfly with the bees and the flowers. My life, be like this. My life, be like this. My life, be like this. Get high, butterfly on wings, I fly across the sea just to see a little bee. Cause I'm getting to the honey, dipping in the money, trying to live my life where it's always sunny. Feeling how I'm feeling, I'm chilling. Feeling how I'm feeling, I'm chilling. Get high, butterfly on wings, I fly across the sea just to see a little bee. Cause I'm getting to the honey, dipping in the money, trying to live my life where it's always sunny. Feeling how I'm feeling, I'm chilling. Feeling how I'm feeling, I'm chilling.